Hello and welcome back to another YouTube video. Today I'm doing my support presence tier list for Worlds this year, so if you enjoy the content, like, subscribe, and let's get into it. To begin with, there weren't a huge amount of shifts within the support role, so it's mostly going to stay very top heavy. A lot of the meta picks just haven't been nerfed. The likes of Rakan, spoiler alert, Alistar, Nautilus Rel really do just dominate the support role at the moment. Bard, of course, did get buffed up. He is definitely a good champion, but I don't think we're going to see a huge amount of games with him, so let's cover the tier list. To begin with, Lux might see a couple of games. Was a strong pairing back along with Caitlyn. Of course, Caitlyn has been reappearing in the meta as being a good lane bully. Kalista is still probably going to be the default go-to, but then Caitlyn is a strong option there. Morgana just isn't a great champion at the moment, which is why we will oftentimes probably see Lux as her ranged pairing. Other than that, there's a high chance we just see engaged pairings with Caitlyn. Moving on, Blitzcrank is a really good pick into as a counter to a couple of enchanters, can be really good into the likes of Senna, so he is definitely an option there. Moving on, Pyke is also a really good option into Senna. You can really heavily bully some lanes if you're really strong as a duo with the likes of Draven, and Pyke is a really good option. I don't think we're going to see a huge amount of him. He tends to also be pretty niche as a hook champ, but he will probably see some play. Taric, same goes. Taric is a really strong champion, but quite niche. The likes of Nilah is probably where we're only going to see Taric. Past that, I don't believe we're going to see any other pairings. Moving on, Zilean is a really strong champion for the value of his slow, his stuns, his revive ability, but once again, it's not a huge amount of play rate, and he'll probably stay very niche throughout the tournament. Soraka has the ability to kind of jump up a tier. I think at the moment she's in a good spot as well, along with a lot of these other niche options, but they tend to be bullied out by some of the meta picks, which is why they do, or bullied out by certain meta picks, but then can be really good responses to other ones. Soraka is a good champion, however you're most likely only going to see this champion every so often, with the likes of Trimby possibly playing it. Amumu, a good engaged champion, just kind of overshined by a lot of the other engaged options at the moment. He might see a couple of games here and there. If we're not going to see any MF, then there's a high chance we don't see any Amumu. He probably sits towards the lower end, maybe a game or two of this champion with support role. Milio might see a couple of games with Lucian, but I believe we'll probably see some Nami Lucian as well, which is why Nami is also going to be in this tier. Both of these are probably going to be his go-to options. Milio might come out on top, however we haven't seen Milio after his nerfs that much. Nami still works quite well with Lucian, so if we're looking for Lucian pairings, then these will probably be the two options they go for. Karma will be in this tier, receive some AP ratio buffs on her Q and empowered Q. Not going to be enough to suddenly propel her into the meta, but definitely an option there if you're looking for a shielder and a damage dealer in the support role, which can be a lane bully throughout for the likes of maybe like Caitlyn, can work well with the Ezreal, stuff like this. Poppy is also going to be in this tier. Poppy is a good response to Kalista. The amount of dashes Kalista has can make it quite hard for her to play into Poppy. Other than that, she also works just quite well on a low-income build. You can run things like Radiant, you can run Evenshroud, you can run Locket. There are options here. But yeah, most of the time it will just come in as a counter pick towards Kalista. Moving on, Renata is also going to be down here. Renata got nerfed a while ago, but then never really got back up. She is a good pick in certain circumstances, will be mostly used as a counter to get a lot of value out of her ultimate, out of her Q ability, stuff like this. You can mostly only pair her with hyper carries as well, as that's where the W really has a lot of value. Lissandra will probably be around here. I could see her jumping to the 10 to 30 mark. She was seeing play from Mickey X, and I know a lot of other supports were looking at this champ and picking her up into Rakan. However, I mean, she did receive some buffs, and that could suddenly jump her up a tier if people are really looking to pick this champion into the likes of Alistar, Rakan, possibly even Rel, stuff like this. Moving up a tier, Thresh is going to be first champion here. He received buffs towards his Lantern Soul gain, but I still think Thresh is in a pretty good spot, even though the buffs are very minor. I don't think we're going to see a huge amount of him, and I can see where he dropped down a tier just because of how high presence the other champions are, but he's definitely an option here. Bard is in a really strong spot at the moment. His shrine, having 2 charges on Shrine and the amount of outer combat movement speed he has to traverse the map makes him really powerful. I don't think we're going to see a huge amount of Bard, but he's definitely here as an option. He does good damage. He's durable if you pick up things like the Locket or the Radiant. Yeah, really strong pick. He definitely could suddenly shoot up to a really high presence if people are really willing to put it in the practice and unlock the champion. Leona is probably one of the worst engagers at the moment, engage supports at the moment, but she definitely will definitely see a couple of games. I know people do like to play the Leona. It has a decent CC chain. It has a really strong ultimate in the Solar Flare, but can kind of fall short into some of the other engage options. Lulu is usually the go-to enchanter for a lot of these hyper carries. The likes of Zeri and Kaiser can run alongside this. Not seeing any Jinx does hurt Lulu. Aphelios will probably see a level of play, which then the Lulu pairing can be quite strong there. Senna will probably see a couple of games with the likes of Nyla and then some of her other pairings, like maybe Seraphine, Tam, Yasuo, Karthus, definitely. Whether she's this high in presence, she could definitely drop down a tier, might end up just being too niche, but I do hope we see a decent amount of Senna. She's in a really strong spot at the moment, and having her pairings can be really valuable towards your comp. Braum is a really strong R5 pick. He works really well into comps where you can utilize his shield and his passive. Alongside that, he can work well with the likes of Kog'Maw. Overall, just a really strong champion. Definitely can hold a spot in the 30 to 50 presence mark. Could even jump higher if people are really willing to just pick him early, even though I definitely recommend avoiding that, as he can fall short into some of the other picks within the game at the moment. Moving up, Nautilus is going to be in the 50 to 70 presence mark. We're just going to jump through the next tiers, as like these champions are just really seeing so much play at the moment and have such high presence that they will hold the top spots for sure. Nautilus, really strong ultimate in the point and click, just being able to get that knock up. Of course, it can be a multi-man knock up, single target, whichever one you want. The Q is a really valuable pick tool. He's really durable within laning phase with the W. He is a really good slow tool and does decent damage. We probably won't see any Nautilus mid lane, so he loses value in being a flex pick, but even then, he's just a really strong support. Maybe we see him jungle. I also just don't think we will see him jungle. That tended to be really niche, and I'm pretty sure it was only really Kanavi who played it. But yeah, definitely holds a good spot here. Rell is a jungle support flex pick. She has a decent jungle clear, and we'll for sure see a decent amount of jungle Rell. Whether it's high enough to like inflate our ban rate towards the 70 to 90 mark, I don't believe so. The nerfs towards her E should have kept it down enough, but she's definitely a really strong flex pick. We'll see decent play in both roles. Just not the go-to support, as both Alistar and Rakan will probably hold this spot. I could see honestly either of them being like this. Both these champions are just really strong at the moment. Rakan has so many strong things within his kit. The Q is a really good heal. The W is a really good engage tool. The E is a really good disengage tool. The ult is really valuable as a team fight AoE spell. Overall, just his kit is so strong at the moment, with all of it being really power positive towards him. Overall, yeah, Rakan really in a really good spot. Alistar kind of just been creeping up over time. He received buffs a while ago towards all of his AP ratios. Alongside that, I'm pretty sure he received the passive change, which, well, I mean, basically just buffed his passive, made it a bit more useful during the game. Overall, this has just helped him do more within team fights, just more damage, get his rotations on his combo. I'm pretty sure they loosened up his mana cost just to make sure he can do this. He had increased health regen, and yeah, alongside the passive, just keeps him healthy during laning phase, which is where he used to also be quite punishable. If he failed to like kill on engages, then Alistar would be punished. He's still relatively weak level 1, which is where teams can punish the champion. But if you're creative, you're running things like the Hex Slash, then you can still make angles with the level 1, even if it's not optimal. He has really good pairings. The likes of Kaiser being a really strong champion with him. Rakan, really good pairing with Xayah. Both Kaiser and Xayah looking like the number 1, 2 ADC picks. However, Kalista definitely really strong with both these champions as well, even when she is also looking like a strong pick. Covering some of the ones I've just left out here, Lissandra, Jarvan would be very niche, like circumstances. Like Jarvan, you're running alongside the Kalista, but I don't think we're going to see it. Anivia is kind of like a Mickey X support pick. Also, just don't think we're going to see it. Annie, I could see a couple of games being played on. Tibbers is a really valuable tool. You're running like Rylai, you're running your Shurelya's, and she's really strong with this build. Yuumi, I hope we don't see this champion. I hate it, but maybe Yuumi Zeri sees a game. Sona, I don't believe we're going to see a game. It's too much of a playstyle switch, and she just isn't great at the moment. Morgana is a terrible champion. It's getting buffed this patch, thank God. It's so useless. Janna can be really good. I hope we do see some Janna, and honestly, I could see maybe a couple of games of Janna, so I will bump her up a tier. And the likes of Neeko and Maokai would be here, but they would mostly come out as like ban presence, where they would see one game of support role and then pick up bans through mid lane, through jungle. That could be something that happens. But yeah, overall, I believe Gragas as well could also see some ban rate and like a game or two where the champion's brought out as a response towards like a Alistar maybe. I'm not a huge fan of Gragas though. I think this champion definitely took a big hit with the sustained nerfs. A champ I would like to see though is Zyra. I think Zyra is insanely good at the moment. I definitely hope a team picks this champion up and really tries to play around to their valuable, the slows, the damage, the control is on the champion, but I don't know. I don't believe it's going to happen. So yeah, that's my support. That's my thoughts on the support to this. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you next one. Goodbye.